So a couple of things. While we're working on that, I'll start my stand-up routine. I'm gonna take this from 45 minutes to about 15, so we'll scoot through some of the details, but I heard a couple of great things. Where's Ben? He's taking off here. Our theme this year was something like how the world connects in real time. You've heard that theme quite a bit. Ben Tansky's comment, connectivity is cool, has been decided. We voted on it. It's been decided as the theme for next year, so buckle up. Shirts are coming. That was awesome. We'll give it a minute for some of the slides to come up, but the theme obviously this time is how the world connects in real time. We've put together a number of conversations and have come together really so elegantly. I'm not sure we were quite that good, but it really worked out well. As you think about modernizing connectivity, we talked about that this morning. I was able to be on a nice panel there, capturing momentum, measuring outcomes, and man, it just comes together really nice in a culmination here, talking about what we're doing here as a connected ecosystem in that way. At the kickoff Wednesday, Ben shared a clear message. Connectivity is at the heart of transformation, but it needs to move faster, it needs to be simpler, and it needs to deliver more value. That theme really reminds me of Dan Caruso's book, another common theme that we've talked about here, bandwidth, a fantastic history lesson, by the way. Most of us have lived it in some portion, but definitely check out the book. He talks about, though, how waves of infrastructure innovation reshape the industry. Those who modernize first capture the growth, and that's exactly the context for today's roadmap. We're building the capabilities to let you modernize connectivity itself and then stay ahead of that wave. So, guys, can we check on the deck here? Do I just need to advance it? Or? No, not the video. I had a deck with roadmap slides. Yeah, if you could. I'll go quick. Thank you. So my name is Trey. I've met you all a couple times here. Thanks for being with us in the last bit. Like I said, I'll move through a couple things here just to get us going. But what I really want to show you is what we said we were going to go do last time. I had been at Connectbase for about 9 months. I presented a roadmap, very ambitious, very bold in that sense. We needed to do some other things, some foundational things in that way. Those are in good position. We're setting the foundation to move forward in that way. So I'll talk to you a little bit about just a few ideas quickly. One is, I'll rehash the vision quickly, but I'll talk to you about some of the other elements we've got going on in the business here. You guys know the vision and what we're trying to build at Connectbase. We really are aiming to become the leading cloud platform for network connectivity and connectivity-enabled products. We're widening the net just a bit, okay? We're here to revolutionize how connectivity is bought and sold, and we all know this well. But don't miss a couple of the other points. We want to be scalable and user-friendly, so we talk a lot about being API first, but UI available. We want you to be able to move in and out of those workflows, regardless of how you integrate into your BSS system. So that's our vision. You guys know where we're headed and what we're doing now, but let's talk about what we thought about at a deeper level. So from intent to impact here, we set a couple of objectives. Very ambitious in that sense, but they are intent around the impact that we wanted to create with those things. So we have done some things to adopt a modular API framework. We wanted to always be very, very thoughtful about connecting the ecosystem. Several acquisitions come together. Well, we needed to bring the supply to the demand in that way. So we had to focus in connecting the ecosystem there, linking what we call the global platform or the retail platform in that way. You've seen some of those changes come about. Thinking about how folks integrate. I talked about being API first. Well, simplifying those integration points is absolutely critical. How do we enable that? How do we produce documentation that makes it easier to consume? How do we support our customers and partners throughout that integration journey? Tammy shared a great story about some of her journey together today. That's what we're aiming to go do. And so we're working with that kind of context, all while trying to show the value that Connectbase brings to your businesses, to your partnerships, to your relationships in a much more visual and present way as we think about empowering you through dashboards and different reporting types of channels. I wanted to show you a couple of things that we've done. So I hear often, I didn't know that, didn't hear that. Oh, you guys did that? Great. And so I thought I'd just put a few of those on the screen. Some of the things that we did in the last 12 months since the last time we chatted. I presented an ambitious roadmap, but like I said, we talk about things in a sense of what we're doing now, what's coming next, and what's later. Look at what we've done here. A few things that are really interesting to talk about. And I wanted to highlight so you guys can ask questions. If you haven't seen them, you haven't heard them, make sure you find us or chat with your account manager in that way. Lots of neat things happening. The first one, I'll pick up where I left off, is the analytics roadmap. We released an entirely new set of visualization and packaging there. We did that right at the end of the Connected World Live last time. And then we launched a great tool. It's one great uptake. A tool called Linkbase. That's our digital matchmaking engine between buyers and sellers in that way. Some of the cool stories I get to tell about that are connections is our lifeblood. That is how we build and create and continue to establish value in the ecosystem. When Linkbase launched on the 2nd of May, we had about 73 tickets that month. In the month of May, we had about 75 the month after that. In the month of August, we had over 500 relationships that were created in that way between buyers and sellers. So really, really neat story and trajectory there. Status page is a great idea. If you guys don't know what that is, that's a link, a public link called status.connectbase.com. It's a step forward in us maturing the way we operationalize our business so that our customers always know what's happening in the platform. Is it performing as expected? Do we have upcoming maintenance? Have we released new features that you need to know about? All of that is housed in status.connectbase.com. And if you haven't signed up yet, simply go to that URL and you could register for notifications and updates there that come to you proactively. So a really neat upgrade for us there in that transparency and building that trust that we want to talk about. One of the other ones that kind of is often to the side, but talks about scale and growth in this way, we deployed an EU hosting region. We have a whole other set of infrastructure that we use now for our global customer base that continues to grow and had a fantastic presence here at this conference. So exciting news to share in that particular way. And we launched a couple of products like IP address management. That's a special new feature, partners very well in the circuit inventory management space, but a whole new set of capabilities in that tool that helps you continue to manage your infrastructure and your inventory, now also helping you manage your net blocks. So pretty neat tools in that way. And we get to talk about the launch of the unified API platform. Many of you have heard of what that is. Not necessarily a product, but a tool, a piece in the cog of our quoting and our configuration engine in that sense. That tool is a state-of-the-art API integration engine where we're bringing all new suppliers into the network through that particular cog, through that engine. A really special launch for us and just enables us to continue to elaborate and build on bringing that ecosystem together in a single place, in a unified place, which is the purpose of the connected world. So look at the road ahead. I've got literally 7 minutes to keep us on schedule because everyone is excited to be here still. So I'll be quick in a couple of these and I'll show you just a few slides as we wrap up then. A couple of really, really meaningful kind of themes for us here that I wanted to show, and so I'm highlighting these deliberately. We have a whole roadmap, of course, with mid-scale items and more detailed items, but these I'll call your attention to. The first one talks really about a guided quoting experience, so I'll talk about them in a little bit different order just to make them kind of come together more elegantly. Think about using the connected world. Think about the quoting experience in that way, features and modules that we have in the tool now. It's important for us to think about how do we enhance that? Where do we want to go next? There's 2 items on there right in the middle, Product Catalog 2.0 and Bid Management. I'll hold on Bid Management and talk about Product Catalog now. Our goal, as I mentioned at the beginning, our vision here is to continue to enable connectivity-enabled products, not just connectivity. We all sell connectivity in one way or another. There's a relationship there. But what we see now is so many suppliers are building solutions. They're selling more than just connectivity. They're selling over-the-top services. They're selling hardware components that go with that. They're selling different kinds or different styles of services in partnership. Product Catalog 2.0 deepens and or widens our capabilities to build a product catalog that can be sold in the connected world in a more broad sense. So it gives us the capability to build more solutions or more capabilities together there, not just focused on the connectivity piece in that way. And you take that one step farther and you think about the guided quoting experience. So now I'm going to create a more complex capability in the product catalog, but I still want my sellers, my buyers to be able to consume that in an elegant way. I need to think about how do I present those things on a screen in a more natural or the most intuitive way. So that guided quoting experience really transforms that activity into a more intuitive experience, but also gives a few more capabilities like bundling, solution selling in a certain way, and really more of a presentation of a guided experience there that makes the buying experience much more straightforward because we can't train all those different people deeply enough as the solutions get more complex. We'll lead into bid management here, which I'll show you in a minute. Bid management, that's a term that's used a couple of different ways, but what we mean to say is when quotes cannot just go naturally through an automated experience all the way to the order step, there's this phase we go through. We call it bid management. It's used in a couple of different ways in industry specifically. But what it allows you to do is bring in the manual intervention, that supplier engagement activity, when you need to engage your supplier to ask for a better price, to get a price because perhaps you had fallout, to ask for a different kind of diversity perhaps. Those types of things. We're creating a new flow in our tool, revamping a bid management capability that lets that supplier engagement, that manual workflow happen in a more elegant way, a bit more visually appealing, a bit more robust, a bit more natural in its flow. But our goal is to keep all of those users in that tool, which I'll elaborate on here in a minute. And that's in development now. So I get to show you a little bit about what's in our staging environment that's coming to your doorstep here pretty quickly. And then we've got Orderbase. Orderbase is that concept of bringing an order management tool into a single place and unifying that experience for all of the suppliers and all of the buyers in that single platform. So extending the value chain from beyond quoting and into that simple order integration that we have now to a much more complex and robust kind of integration. So bid management is the focus here, and I'll wrap up with these last few words. I talked a little bit about enhancing the approval workflows or manual RFQ enablement inside the platform. Our goal is really a few things. We're building an API-first strategy, so that intention for us is to always allow this feature, this module, to work integrated deeply with the connected world, but separately from that platform as well. So it allows integration into other BSS workflows to balance the simple workflows. So bid management sometimes comes across as this elaborate, very thoughtful kind of process, which it can be. We don't want to forget about the simple workflow. So sometimes we know suppliers buy from themselves in that particular sense. They just need to send it to their deal desk, for example. Those kind of dynamics happen. Or we have a very narrow set of suppliers we need to send it to. So maybe it's just 3 suppliers, for example. Sometimes we have monstrous RFPs that might engage 150 suppliers across 40 countries. That's real too. And so we're trying to balance the need for both of those elements at the same time. We always want to consider the tools that the supplier needs to enable quick but quality bidding tools. And so we want to give them a quick way to say, hey, I don't want to bid on that, or hey, I need new information. And then thinking about an RFP that includes many of the same kind of repetitive things. If you think about a quote that includes a 12-month term, a 24-month term, and a 36-month term, the technical details will be the same in most cases. It's the pricing that changes. Or vice versa. If you have the same details across the board, but perhaps you have a 50 meg circuit and a 100 meg circuit, for example, most of those details will be the same, but maybe you deliver it in a slightly different way. We're trying to be thoughtful about the bid management tools in that way, all while working to keep the data in a single place, in a single tool and interface that not only creates efficiency, but thinks about mindful memorialization of the quotes and the quoting data that was provided in a manual way. So it's not just in a spreadsheet, it's not just in an email around the way. You can go back and look at those things down the road. So here's a couple of quick views. I'll tease these and then I'll wrap up in the last 2 minutes. This is your natural CPQ screen in the connected world. So typical engagement, there's nothing overly new here or different here. So any of you familiar have seen this context before. But I just created a quote. It has 4 or 5 locations on it with 2 different products, 2 different two different access medias, I think 2 different speeds, and then 3 or 4 different terms on there, just to give you some variation in that way. I submitted the configuration, I ran through the process in a traditional way, and I get prices back. So now my situation is such that I need help. I want a different price, I want a better price, I need diversity or something along those lines. There's a button here, for example. We'll probably move the button, but this is a real live working software in our staging environment. Live demos are dangerous, so I've captured static pictures, but the concept is just to give you a view of what we're working on in some of the tools. So I said, hey, I need help from different suppliers, what do I do? As a buyer, then I can say, well, here's a couple of different addresses that I've selected for review, and you can see there's a bit of a drop down there. I can open up that address, I can see all of the different configurations that perhaps I want to select, and I can decide, do I need help with that configuration for that particular address or not? If not, you hit the X, it disappears. You can trim your supplier request pretty cleanly, and you can see some of the details on the right by way of example. Hey, I need a price, I didn't get a price, I need some diversity, et cetera. Those kind of contexts there. And then they'll give you on the right, some of the other selections are budgetary approval, or should this be orderable? Should this be best and final? There's a date field on there, there's some note fields on there, but you get that context, and then we're letting you blast that out to suppliers, to the ones that you select. We can recommend them, you can select your own, that kind of context that moves you through that process. And then we're creating on the other end of that activity, this says deal desk, it's a little bit of a misnomer, the supplier engagement context, so that when the supplier gets the context, they still are coming back to the connected world. So it's a supplier engagement portal for on-platform and off-platform suppliers. You don't have to be a paying supplier in that particular context to be able to access the data, right? And we're trying to take it out of email, but still put it back into a unified system so all folks come back together. So top left corner, it's just kind of the the inventory of what needs to be worked. The corner under that is inside of a deal. There's those different locations that I talked about. You can see some of the segmentation, and you can see even the little icons. It's probably hard to see from where you are, but there's a dollar sign, a no bid sign, and I need more information sign. And in the bottom right there, that's the supplier engagement kind of form. We're going to be working on a form builder because all suppliers have different context and information they need, but it will give you some defaults, but will allow you to build your own form in that way. So that's just a little tease of what we're working on here. You should see that come to your doorstep here in just a few months. This is in the staging environment. We will engage some of you to ask us for help. A little bit of feedback, a little bit of context there, but we're excited to talk about new stuff that's coming. I put my very best headshot in the bottom left of the screen. You've seen me often enough, but let's wrap it up. So thank you for your patience, and thank you for the brevity here today as we work to get on schedule here. But my goal, my message to you is our roadmap is not just about features. It's about building the future of the connected world together. And so things like guided quoting, product catalog 2.0, order base, they're transformative building blocks. And we've got a couple of those, and we're adding and we're continuing to build on that house. But from what we've built as a unified ecosystem that connects the global platform, the retail platform, and the connected world platform together, adding powerful tools that simplify, integrate, and deliver the insight through those dashboards and reporting that we talked about, but really trying to gain momentum, driven by real customer value and adoption. To where are we headed? Transforming quoting into an intelligent, guided experience, expanding the marketplace with things like Product Catalog 2.0, giving you an opportunity to sell more and different and unique packages, streamlining every bid and order into one seamless flow, and empowering buyers and sellers to work faster and smarter together. So if there's one takeaway, it's this. We're not just shipping features together. We're shaping the next wave of connectivity. Dan Caruso wrote in Bandwidth that innovation is about seeing the inflection point before everyone else does and acting on it. What you've seen today, in brief, are the building blocks for that inflection, and now it's about working together. So as we prepare to close a sensational TCW Live, thank you guys for sticking with us here. I invite you to join us. Join us as partners, as early adopters, and design collaborators in this product development activity. Let's continue to shape this vision into reality. Ben told us earlier, demand frictionless, expect real time, and let's raise the bar together. So thank you.